Your phone remembers everything. You remember nothing. Every photo, every name, every place you have ever been, it is all in there, perfectly preserved. So why does your own life feel like a blur? Why can you scroll 10,000 images and barely remember standing in a single one of them? Here is the disturbing part. You did this, and your own brain was happy to help. You did not lose your memory, you outsourced it. Somewhere along the way, you handed the job to a machine. Why remember a phone number? Your phone knows it. Why learn directions? Maps knows them. Why hold on to a moment? You photographed it, and your brain noticed every one of these choices, because your brain is lazy in the smartest way possible. It refuses to maintain anything it thinks you do not need. It is always looking for a job it can stop doing. So when you outsourced your memory, it heard permission to finally put that heavy work down. This is not a story about evil technology. It is a story about a muscle you stopped using. Because that is what memory really is. A muscle. It grows when you load it. It wastes when you do not. And right now, yours is wasting away in your pocket. A security company once surveyed thousands of adults. Most could not recall their own children's phone numbers. They called it digital amnesia. The name stuck for a reason. But numbers are the smallest thing you are losing. What happens next is where it gets strange. Let us start with the camera, the thing you trust most. In 2013, a psychologist named Linda Henkel ran a study. She walked people through an art museum. Some objects they simply observed. Others, they photographed. The next day, she tested what they actually remembered. The results were quietly unsettling. People remembered the photographed objects worse, fewer details, weaker recall, less of everything. She called it the photo-taking impairment effect, and the reason it happens should scare you. The moment you raise your camera, your brain relaxes. It thinks, the phone has this one, I can let go. So it stops encoding, it stops paying real attention. You were pointing a lens at the memory, but you were no longer standing inside it. You did not capture the moment. You skipped it. Picture a parent filming their child's whole recital. They watched the entire thing through a 4-inch screen. Ask them a week later what it actually felt like. Often there is a strange blank where the pride should be, and it gets worse when you plan to post it. Later research found that shooting a photo to share damages the memory even more than shooting it for yourself. Because now, you are not living the moment at all. You are already editing it for an audience. You would think a photo is at least better than nothing, but a photo of a moment you never encoded is just proof that your body was there, nothing more. Now think about the last time you drove somewhere new. You did not learn the route. You followed a blue arrow. Deep inside your brain sits a structure called the hippocampus. It builds your mental maps. It stores your memories. And like a muscle, it grows when you use it. In London, becoming a taxi driver takes years. Drivers memorize 25,000 streets by heart. They call this brutal training the knowledge. Scientists scanned the brains of those drivers. Their hippocampus was physically larger than everyone else's. They grew part of their own brain by refusing to be told where to turn. Now flip that picture around completely. Studies link heavy GPS use to weaker spatial memory over time. The brain shrinks what it is never asked to do. Every time you follow the arrow, you skip the workout. And a skipped workout, repeated daily, becomes atrophy. You are not just forgetting streets, you are training the memory center of your brain to quit. And this connects to something you have already felt. Ever notice how the years seem to blur past faster now? Rich, novel memories are what stretch time out. A life on autopilot gives the brain nothing to mark. So the months collapse into one smooth, forgettable streak. But here is where it gets really interesting. The damage is not only about photos or maps, it is about how you exist every waking hour. Years ago, a tech thinker named Linda Stone named a new and quiet state of mind. She called it continuous partial attention. It means you are always half here, always scanning, always braced for the next buzz. You are at dinner, but also checking. You are in a conversation, but also glancing down. Your attention is spread across everything and landing fully on nothing, and memory needs the exact opposite of that. Memory needs depth. It needs you sunk into one place. A moment only takes root if you actually sink into it. But you do not sink anymore. You skim. Life becomes a feed of half moments, and half moments do not survive the night. And do not tell yourself you are just multitasking. Your brain does not run two things at once. It switches, fast, and drops something every time. What it quietly drops, over and over, is the memory. You wake up, and the day before is already smoke. Then there are the interruptions themselves. Every single notification is a reset button for your brain. The buzz hits. Your focus snaps clean in half. Whatever you were feeling in that moment is gone. A researcher named Gloria Mark studied this for years. After an interruption, refocusing takes over 23 minutes. 23 minutes from a 2-second buzz. Now try to count your notifications from today. Each one yanked you out of a moment still forming. Your brain never got to finish saving the file. It is like closing a document before it writes to disk. Do that 100 times a day, and you reach midnight full of experiences with almost none of them actually written down. And think about what that quietly costs you. The best moments of a day are often small. A look, a laugh, a thing someone just said. Those are exactly the moments a single buzz erases first. And then, there's the strangest example of all. Picture the last concert or celebration you attended. Half the crowd is watching it through a screen, filming, posting, watching the little view count climb. Here is what nobody tells you about that. Filming a moment and living a moment are two completely different brain states. When you film to post, you leave your own experience. You step outside yourself and become the audience. You stop asking, "How does this feel right now?" You start asking, "How will this look to them?" One of those states builds a memory. The other one just builds content. You quietly became a camera operator at your own life, and you genuinely cannot do both at the same time. So you walk away with a video you will never rewatch, and no real memory of the night that made it. So let us finally name what is really happening here. You have been told your phone is a memory device. It is not. It is a memory replacement. A memory device would help you remember things. A replacement makes remembering feel unnecessary. And your brain cannot tell stored from remembered. When it knows the information is safe somewhere else, it quietly deletes its own private copy. Scientists even have a name for this: the Google effect. In one study, people were given facts to save. Those who knew the facts were stored forgot the facts themselves almost instantly, but they clearly remembered where to find them. They swapped the knowledge itself for its address. Read that one more time and let it land. Your brain has stopped storing your life. It now stores directions to where your life is kept. And every time you reach for that phone, you teach it the very same lesson again. You do not have to remember. Something else will. You are not using a tool. You are training yourself. So here is where you actually stand tonight. The phone in your pocket holds 50,000 photos. It knows every birthday, every route, every face. And you? You cannot clearly picture last Tuesday. That is not a storage problem. Your brain has the room. That is a usage problem. And your phone made it worse. The cruel part is how fair the trade felt. You gave away tiny things, a number, a direction. You never agreed to hand over your actual life. But quietly, piece by piece, that is what happened. Your memories were never meant for the cloud. They were supposed to live inside you, because in the end, you are your memories. Lose them, and you do not just forget events. You slowly lose the person who was there for them. Your memory is not a filing cabinet you can empty. It is the raw material that you are actually made of. Hand it all to a machine, and you hand away yourself. You do not need to throw your phone into the sea. You just need to arrive somewhere before you photograph it. Look first, feel it fully, let the moment land. Then, and only then, maybe take the picture. Because a life you never actually remembered is not a life you can honestly say you lived. If you want to see what your shrinking attention span is quietly doing to the rest of your mind, that video is next.